back. Today we are working on the turbocharged Crosskart. For those of you that are new, this is a 100% built from the ground up. I have no plans. Everything you see here basically has been built or modified to fit some kind of vision I have had in my head, which is something I have always wanted to do ever since I was a kid. Now it has I believe a 2006, if I remember correctly. It's a 2006 Gixxer 600 engine. It has an on-3, let's see if I can get it over there. There it is. Has an on-3 76mm turbo with the world's smallest back housing on it, and that is to help spool it up. It's got a water-to-air intercooler there that we will be plumbing in sometime in the near future. Has a homemade intake manifold, that way everything blows through that. Now, this is a project that I started a couple years ago, and I have been using it to, well, fit in between projects I have going on here, whether it be working on the kids' cars, the Mustang, newest project, the Turbo LS build. And this thing, well, I use to help with the creativeness. It helps me, I run into certain situations, helps me get creative, helps me with my welding on those things over there, but it's been a lot of fun. So, if I remember correctly, the last time we worked on this, we had built, come on over here so we can check it out, our throttle pedal assembly here. Now this is the brake pedal I have kind of tacked into place. Still need to make the brackets for our brake master cylinder, but I will do that on a different video or in the future. Today, we are going to be working on finishing up the fuel system. Like I keep saying, I need to get this thing off the rack so we can get the Mustang up there. But I want to finish plumbing in the fuel system, because those of you that have seen me fire this thing up in the past, I have just had the fuel pump and everything hanging off the side here, hoses going to and from the tank, kind of wiring's just plugged into the plugs. So what I want to do, and I've got the fuel pump and fuel filter right there, I'll go ahead and finish mounting this fuel tank. I've already got 2 of the bolts drilled and tapped into the frame. And I've got this side marked, so what we need to do is we're going to drill those out, and I'm going to use one of these guys here. It's a 1/4-20 drill bit tap combo. It actually worked really well, especially with the frame being as thick as it is. Drills right through, threads all in one shot. Kind of a time saver. I will tell you though, don't get yourself in a bind because it will snap quick. So I believe that'll be the 3rd bit I've used. So just kind of take your time, don't get in a hurry, and they work great. So, another thing, hopefully you guys can hear me. It has been storming like crazy the past couple days, and I figured I couldn't put it off anymore. I need to get out here, I need to do something. I need to keep myself motivated and going on this stuff. So hopefully you can hear me. Now I'm going to go ahead and get you up on the stand there. Go ahead and finish drilling out the 2 other spots on this tank. Get the bolts installed. And then we'll get the thing up in the air and start hooking up the fuel pump and the fuel filter. All right, fuel cell is mounted, got all the holes drilled and tapped, and she is pretty solid. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on from continually running our -10 line. As you can see, I got from the back of the tank. It's gonna come all the way up, follow this rail, and actually tie into our fuel filter, which is going to be mounted on a bracket right in here. and it is actually going to be held in place by this little bracket that I made yesterday. I actually went ahead and took all my measurements for the most part, I think. At least got that first line cut with dash 10. This is a 90. And if I'd have thought about it a little bit more when I was building this tank, I probably would have put another fitting to the outside over here. That way I could use a 180 fitting, but I didn't really think about that at the time. So this is a 90 that I put just a little bit more bend into. So instead of it being like an outward 45 like you would normally find, it goes inwards 45, which allows the dash 10 hose to come around here and not kink it. So anyways, moving on, we're gonna go ahead and get the filter mounted up in this spot. Fuel pump is going to be mounted on the opposite side right here on the rail. So it's gonna come from the tank, filter, loop around into the pump. And then we'll go ahead and make up our lines, run them back up to our fuel pressure regulator. So first, let's get this thing mounted. All right, fuel filter and fuel pump are installed. All the lines are ran. Even redid the little electrical connectors at the pump as well. Got our little tube going from the filter to the pump. And show you guys what it looks like. So here's our line from the tank. Runs in between our little sump there along the rail. Gets bolted up or clamped to the bottom of the frame there. Come across into our filter. Out of our filter, back into our fuel pump where that line connects, goes up in between the rails here, keep it away from our sprocket, up the side of the radiator mount, and back up into our fuel pressure regulator. Now the bottom of this setup is pretty much all done. I still have to kind of go through. We're going to double check, make sure it doesn't have any leaks. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to bring the buggy down, because where it comes out of our fuel pressure regulator into the fuel rail, it's just one straight piece. And what I want to do is I want to come off the rail and add another one of these little filters here. Now I bought this filter many years ago. I'm not quite sure, or I don't remember where I got it. But here is our fuel, or the part number for our little fuel filter. That focuses in for you. So I'll try to add a link to that as well. But of course, for the most part, all of you know I get most of my stuff off eBay. So we'll see what I can find. I will add a link to the filter and that fuel pump as well. Most of this stuff is actually pretty decently priced. And if you know, it does work. I have had this thing running on that pump at least before. We are going to see how that filter holds up though. So fingers crossed. But anyways, we'll get this thing down to where we can reach the regulator and the fuel rail. Pull that line off, get everything measured up, and get this guy installed. All right, fuel system is complete. We got all the hoses ran from the tank to the filter, pump, fuel pressure regulator, fuel rail. Seth, Everything is hooked up, ready to go. I also went ahead, did a couple little things off camera while I was kind of tinkering. Made a little bracket here, so we got the fan just kind of mocked up. That's where it's going to go. Still need to make the bracket for the bottom. Went ahead and drilled and tapped the tank for this port here, because this is a steam port hose or a constant flow, which helps circulate the water. It was obviously going to the wrong spot. And we redid one of the ground lines coming off the engine block here, going down to the frame, and that's going to be bolted where the engine mount is. Just a couple little things, just kind of start cleaning things up, rerouting some of the wiring as well. Just to clean it up, I used to have all that stuff kind of flung right here, but trying to get a little bit done each time I work on this, so it's, when it comes time, we can get on the ground and test drive it. So, but anyways, still got a lot of work to do. But right now, we're going to go ahead and Seth's going to video for us. Go ahead and get fuel in the tank, cycle the key. That way we can check the system for leaks. And then, of course, we're going to start it up. I can't work on this thing without firing it up, hearing it run, just to kind of keep that little motivation alive. So go ahead and hand you off to Seth, and let's check for some leaks. Huh?
Mm.
What?
Yep.
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 All right. Now, this is going to be a surprise to us both if it doesn't leak. Go ahead and add some fuel to this thing. Make sure we don't got any leaks. Now this is a mix of 93, 116, and 98. So I have no idea what the octane rating is. I'd have to add all that together and divide it by, I don't know, 4, 2, 3. All right, first glance. Got no leaks coming out the back here. That's a good sign. I was wondering about this little fitting because I put that extra barometer, but I was kind of worried about this fitting because I put that extra bend in it to get it past 90. So I don't know if you want to call like 90 degrees, so 0, 90. We'll go like 100, 120 maybe. No leaks coming from there. I don't see any leak coming from front of the filter. That's good. Let's go ahead and turn the key on. See right here and tell me if that gets any pressure. Oh yeah, I hear it.
Yeah.
There it goes. Let's see. Go ahead and pick this up. You can watch it come back. Kind of shoot into the tank there. Good stream.
Yep.
All right, so first glance, do not see any leaks. So that is actually awesome. Oop, I take that back. I think I just found our first leak. Yep, right here. Right, the intake of the pump. You all right over there, bud?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so go ahead and grab our little wrench here. I know, right? You're on. It's on a lift. Why are you going on your back? Well, it's because my freaking jumper box doesn't go that far. Yep. Slight leak right there. That's no big deal. Go ahead and Tighten that up real quick. Oh yeah, that's because it's loose. Of course, the one. All right, so we got everything tightened up. Been sitting here now actually for the last 5 minutes or so checking. Everything looks good. So now that we got all the leaks taken care of, we're gonna fire this thing up. I'm gonna hand you back over to Seth. It wasn't that big of a deal. It's actually, show you real quick. Like I said, I buy most of my stuff off eBay. What happened was a little fitting. It kind of wasn't completely straight on the nut here, so I had to loosen it up, rotate it around, got it centered back up on its little flare. I don't know if you can even see inside there, but we got it centered back up on the flare, tightened her back up, and now it's not leaking. Hopefully it stays that way. So, but like I said, I'm gonna hand you back over to Seth. Go ahead and get this thing fired up because we can't work on Frankenstein here without hearing it run. So here we go. All right, all the leaks are fixed. This thing is running pretty dang good. Actually gonna post that video separate by itself because it's over 10 minutes long. So if you want to check it out, check it out. Otherwise, it runs. I've actually, this thing has been running now for the last, besides this video that you're gonna see or I'll post, besides the 10-minute one, I actually let it run another between 20 and 30 minutes, just sitting here idling. I've been kind of tinkering around, went ahead and wired our fan in and just let it run, just to make sure the fan was sufficient enough to blow air through the radiator, cool everything down, and it was. It actually didn't get as high, the highest it got was 187, come back down to 181, sitting here idling, it'd go back and forth. And that's with no airflow in here, just what it's pulling with the fan. I will, however, when I get around to redoing everything, I am going to make a full shroud for the radiator. I've got a lot of air lost in this gap here, and I kind of want to make it as efficient as possible. So I will be making a shroud for that. But other than that, it all worked. Fuel system is done. It works. It's tucked up out of the way. So now what I'll do is I'll make a skid plate, make sure all that stuff is protected underneath before we go and put this thing on the ground and actually take it out for a ride. But that is on a later date. There's still some other things I need to do underneath this thing. Next, I'll try to figure out battery box, running the wiring from the front, and of course, finish up our linkages. I have the brake, as you've seen in a previous video on this thing. It is kind of mocked up. Still need to make the tabs for that. And I need to make the clutch linkage. And then other little things from there, but still a little bit to do. But moving along, nonetheless, getting closer and closer, putting this thing back on the ground. Or on the ground, taking it for a little test ride before we tear this thing completely apart. Sand, finish welding everything out, sand, paint the frame, and get it back together as kind of like a little, I don't know, just a toy, basically. But anyways, I'm gonna end this video right here. Hope you guys liked it. Hope this motivates you to get out in the garage or shop or in your driveway, work on one of your projects. Definitely motivates this kid. So again, you guys, thank you very much. Appreciate all your support. I can't do any of this without you guys. You're the ones that give me the motivation. So again, I appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching the video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll catch you on the next one.